back in the arena, and he was brilliant in his match a little bit earlier on. Looked really, really sharp, did Dylan. I'm intrigued to see how he goes here. This is the second match of the night for him. Oh, this is a tricky layout. Straight away, this feels like a cut break layout for Dylan Leary and Shaun Storry, just to navigate here. Not a particularly easy one, but as two pretty well-known advocates of the cut break, they'll be used to finishes like this.
Fiddly, yeah, very fiddly, and it's a case of how aggressive do you want to be? Do you want to chase one and potentially open it up and not get there, or do you want to be patient? First frame of the match as well. It's worked out pretty nicely. Such a good first shot because it just opens the table up. He landed nicely, and then you kind of pick your pattern from there. Be interesting to see what he does here. You know, it looks natural to take the one he's got now, get on the one into left centre, get on the one on the left hand side, but then you're going to have to play a shot up the table. So do you play the one along the bottom cushion now and try and get up to the one on the top, right at the top of the table, deal with those two first? One on the left hand side becomes your penultimate ball then with a red inside it. No, he's going to play on it now. He did have enough angle. I quite like going up the table there. Probably just get to the right-hand side of the 8 ball. One top left, one in the middle of the table. Get yourself on the left-hand side and you're out. Now he's going to have to play a shot at some point. Oh, okay, I see the plan. He's leaving the red to the bottom left as last, but rather than having the one he's just played as a connector off it, he's going to connect to the 8 ball, or he just drops it in and leaves the thin 8 ball. That's the plan. He's a little bit short here. He would like to have been another 2 rolls up the table. That's okay. He's got enough angle just to track the line. Rather than being straight on it, so he would play for the 8 ball top right now rather than dropping it in and leaving the thin clip, but identified that the best ball to play off the trickiest ball on the table, being this red, was the 8 ball.
Yeah, this is a red that really needs making, mind. Guarantees. When you're injecting a little bit of pace, it's easy to get it slightly wrong. Even early on in this match, and we are very early on in this match. It feels like a potentially very key moment within it. Shaun Storry is usually an excellent punisher of mistakes.
That wasn't as easy as he made it look.
Yeah.
To catch that thin, get thin, you know, see, he's executed it to perfection, so it looked easy. It was not as easy as he made it look.
So that's a pretty good effort from Dylan Leary, I must say. He had half a hope for that in the left centre for a second, didn't he?
Yeah, he thought when he saw that come off the bottom cushion, he thought this is going to flick the cue ball. It could knock it close. Shaun's eyeing up the plant. The way he's playing it, he could screw into the 8 ball as well if he's ultra positive here.
Yeah, because the first ball's going the other way. So he gets the angle, and he did look to find that 8 ball, but he's not made the plant, he's not made the cannon. Disaster.
A major surprise to not get either.
Yeah, you feel like you're going to have to get one or the other.
I feel like taking on moving the 8 ball risks missing the plant, but I did not see him missing both. In fact, I didn't see him missing the plant, in all honesty. And he has left this 8 ball. It's tough.
How much easier is it when you feel like you're getting a bit of a free go even that being said, can't quite get it to go.
That might add a few visits to this table, to this frame. Yeah. 8 ball going awkward and not a great chance to clear up now for Shaun. Could just be patient. Or he could go straight after it. I suspect he wishes he'd be patient now.
Yeah, I think so.
Though the yellow staying on the table helps.
Somewhere Brian Halcrow is pointing at his screen going, I wouldn't have done that.
Thought he'd made that for a second. Surely he wasn't trying to bot it. Important that Dylan hits this. You need a lot of things to go your way to not leave a chance on, but if he doesn't hit it, then cue ball in hand and short position on the yellow should be routine for Shaun. To be honest with you, if he does hit it, the chances of becoming safe is not good. Trying to kick 3 cushions rather than 2. Get the 8 ball flying. No, in the end, just coming 1. It was actually a really interesting choice of shot, because if he gets that 8 ball full ball at that pace, he bumps it onto the cushion and leaves Shaun all but touching his yellow, which would have been a terrible place to be with the 8 ball in the open. That was nearly a brilliant shot from Dylan.
Yeah, I really like the vision. Just a really difficult bit of execution. Finally, Shaun Storry can go and win the frame. Not exactly been a sort of brilliant night so far from Shaun Storry, but the one thing I would say is I'm not sure there are many other players in the world who find a way to win better than Shaun Storry when they're not necessarily at it. He's just got an incredible level of match play within him. He's such a gamer, and he never ever feels like he's out of a match. Even if he's playing terribly 5-1 down, you know he's not out of it.
Yeah, he's fascinating to watch, and when he's not quite at it, he hangs in, finds a way. He's got the opposite scenario in terms of the 6 red shootout compared to Dylan Leary. He's got a great record in them, been involved in an awful lot of them as well. Just even when he's not quite at the races, he still finds a way to stay in matches and look for good moments to happen.
Shaun Storry to break. Any more frames?
Yeah, tough one to have a defined statistic for, but in terms of matches won from behind, I would put good money on Shaun Storry being right up towards the top of that league table. He simply does not know when he's beaten. He's got a fantastic mentality in that sense.
He's going to go reds here. Decent break, good even split. 2 at the bottom of the table will be the ones to work out. Now, when he pots the one to bottom right, does he avoid the yellow or does he float the gap? If he floats the gap, it's perfect. Oh, he did float the gap, but he's gone too far. I wonder if he thought he was getting a little bit of that yellow. He played that with right hand side. It hit the cushion and spun left as we're looking at it. Maybe he felt like he was feathering the yellow, therefore he thought he was going to potentially go quite close to the red and was trying to get the side on to sort of separate the two, so that when the cue ball does hit the cushion, it gets it. I don't know, maybe he wasn't sure whether he was getting the gap. But not being on it means there's still big jeopardy of not getting out in this visit. he's not on this one to right centre, then there's definitely jeopardy of not getting out because he's on nothing. He was trying to come up far enough to have an angle to come down the table, so it looks like a terrible shot because it was easy to pop that ball and get on the one to right centre, but not to get on it with an angle to come down the table, which is what he was trying to do. And as you could see there, he did have the angle. He's just gone, quarter roll too far. Plays a good safety. Some effort. You saw Dylan there had a quick look to see whether he'd left the red at the bottom of the table on. He was keen not to do that because it means that Shaun still has to play a good shot to get down for it. This looks tight. Excellent shot.
Yeah, played that so well, didn't he?
I mean, interested to see what he does here. It looks easy actually, but that yellow nearest the middle of the table all of a sudden plays big, because you'd love to put the cue ball near that yellow. The further left you leave it, the harder it is to connect the two reds together. If you go the other way, to the right hand side to hit the gap, it would have been small, but he decides to go all the way up the top of the table to get on the red at the top, and may have gone a roll too far. Don't know if he can drop this in or whether the 8 will come into play if he does that, as in he'd be snookered behind it, in which case he'd have to hit it firmer and play the gap. He can get to the bottom of the cue ball to play the cannon. Excellent shot. He's dealt with this visit very well. It looks simple, but it wasn't a simple visit.
Yeah, and that's when you feel like Shaun's at his very, very best. He's actually very good at getting out. You know, he does that at a really, really high percentage. Doesn't always look easy though. Even when maybe it is, he's sometimes pretty good at maybe making it look a little bit more than it needed to be. But when he's making the game look easy, that's when he's starting to find a little bit of form. As we take a look at the group table, Brian Halcrow leads the way, with the caveat that whoever wins this match will either join him in the case of Shaun Storry or overtake him in the case of Dylan Leary. If Dylan Leary were to win this match, Brian Halcrow wouldn't mind it, because it sets them up for a de facto group final.
It does, and right now with Shaun being 2-0 up, Shaun will feel very positive about this, because the way that the final 2 games are set up, it's better for him. He's playing Rab, who can no longer qualify, but he'd have 2 opponents battling out against each other, where, you know, if Dylan was to get anything out of that match and he still has a very live chance of going through, it means that he then has a chance to beat Rab and he would go through. So the table will set up marginally better for Shaun if he wins this one than Brian. Okay, another good layout there. Pattern play is everything. Make this game easy for yourself. Red on the right hand side. Which ball are you playing on afterwards? What's your pattern here? Going for the one at the top of the table next. Can't leave that alone. I think you could play for the one on the right hand side off it. I think the red just at the bottom of the triangle area, bottom of that line, passes the other one, in which case connecting the one on the right hand side to that would be perfect. He's not played that particularly well. He's a little bit straight here. really force that.
That noise you just heard there begins the start of the 15-second shot clock. Crunch time for Shaun Storry and Dylan Leary. Historically, Shaun has handled the 15-second shot clock better than most.
This has been a beautiful pattern. Knew exactly what he was doing right the way through. Only crime really was getting a touch straight on the one at the top of the table, but dealt with that with just by forcing it back to perfect.
Well, Shaun Storry has turned his night around. It looked, didn't it, after that first match with Brian Halcrow, where he did hate that. Let's have it right. Shocking error. How well has he recovered the situation?
Yeah, it depends on how you want to spin it though in your own mind. Right now he could be thinking about that error, thinking I should have been 3-0 up. If he goes 3-0 up, he's going to win that match, barring a miracle, and right, he'd be completely in the driving seat. Whereas right now he knows that even if he was to win this match and win the last match, he still might need to do it in a 6 red shootout as well against the man that's got the quickest time ever.
Leading 3 frames to now.
Yeah, do we think there's now a fear factor there?
No. Shaun is so good at the 6 red that I think he'd be confident against everybody.
4 minutes and 10 seconds to potentially wrap it up. How on earth that cue ball stayed on the table, I am not sure. Not that Shaun's in a position to particularly worry about it.
It's another good layout, another even layout, another layout where it can be made to look easy with a pattern here. Suspected. Wow, he's going to go yellows. I thought he was going to go reds. The 8 ball comfortably goes. This is not really the only problem ball with yellows is the one directly right of the 8 ball. It's not really a problem. He's leaving a yellow down the table, which was not the original plan. Okay, so he's thinking about playing a plant on the yellows by the looks of things. A couple of shots time. I don't think he needs to. The one at the top of the table tracks perfectly to get on the yellow bottom left. I'm shocked by this. And he's nowhere.
That was a strange choice of shot.
It didn't need to. He was so good on the one at the top of the table that it was just a natural, literally knows, just let it roll in. He would have the perfect angle of the yellow that he just played for the plant to take that bottom left, holding just off straight on the yellow to left centre. Okay, the one bottom of the table was going to have to be his last ball, which was never the natural last ball for the 8 ball, but it wasn't going to be a big problem for him, and now he's chasing his tail.
Yeah, and he sort of reacted there. The reaction of a man who knew he was in bother. He may still get out. No, not with that. All right then, Dylan. Time to rumble. 2 minutes for 3 frames. It's not out of the question.
Needs to do this in under a minute though, and get a golden break. When you know that yellow's going to make the 8 ball awkward enough to certainly make Dylan think, oh, he's trying to move it there as well. Didn't need to. He could have, just backed himself to play behind it and take it bottom of the table or top of the table. But he felt it was a cannon that couldn't go wrong, but it has gone wrong. And that extra visit he's going to give to Shaun, even if Shaun wasn't to get out, was going to cost him the time he needs.
Yeah.
So I know you've got to rush there. 3-0 down with 2 minutes to play. You've got to absolutely rush, but he'll be disappointed.
Oh, Shaun. Not quite the shot that he's been sort of made his name on, shall we say. And a minute left, it shouldn't matter. and it's going to keep him honest. He can take these 3 and the 8 ball pretty quickly, and a golden break will keep him in with a shout.
But it needs to be a golden break, golden duck, doesn't it? There's not going to be enough time for a reverse clearance off the back of, even if he was to make the golden. So that mistake not clearing up in the previous visit hurts him.
So the cue ball stop pronto. And yeah, 35 seconds. So a golden break, ideally with as little movement on the balls as possible. And then probably a close to world record breaking clearance feels like the most likely scenario.
Never really paid much attention to the clock running on a break. How many seconds does a break use up?
Why on earth, if you ask me that question, if you're going to get an answer?
Because you spent the last 4.5 years in the commentary box next to me, and one of us should have paid attention to that.
You make a good point.
I mean, the record for the fastest ever reverse clearance is 27 seconds. Can he do this 8 seconds? I think it's doable.
Needs to be golden. It's not going to be, and I think he may well concede here. No.
Well, it was 6 seconds for the balls to stop moving. Just we'll bear that in mind going forward.
Not going to be for Dylan Leary. Pretty valiant attempt at making the clearance. But there is the concession. Shaun Storry is going to win it. A return to form for Autopilot and a return towards the top of the group. He and Brian Halcrow now sit atop Group 5 and joint top. This group is all to play for as we head into the final round of fixtures. Dylan Leary is going to stay out there. He's got Mccullough next, and a big one for him.